But anxiety, did you suffer anxiety your whole life?
I don't say suffer. Not anymore.
Are you on medications for it?
I'm not. Not about. My point is that I do believe in the power of
love,
self-fulfilling prophecies. So if I say to myself, like, I'm suffering from depression, I'm suffering from anxiety, I'm suffering from this, then I'm the victim and I can't do anything about it. If I say to myself, hey, if I say to myself this, man, for those 2 weeks in quarantine, I suffered from anxiety. I had a Garmin on my arm and it tracks your steps. I'd have 20,000 steps someday in a 3-bedroom apartment. And I don't say suffer. I fucking hate that word. And here's my favorite saying: pain is mandatory. Suffering is optional. So you will deal with pain. Pain is universal. There's not a human being on the planet, whether they're born a billionaire or born, in a terrible, terrible situation. Pain's going to happen. You've dealt with pain. You will deal with pain. I've dealt with pain. I will deal with pain. It's my choice whether or not to accept it and try and deal with it, or to allow it to make me suffer. So suffering is my option. So I don't suffer from anxiety. I've dealt with anxiety. I have a relationship with anxiety. But these days, I see it as a school bully, and I deal with it.
I love that. I love it, Jared. I think it's so important because I remember my psychologist said,
"Yeah,
hey, anxiety could be here. Anxiety's in the back seat right now. I've said this before. Anxiety's in the back seat, but you're driving, so you can know it's there, and you go, hey, what's up? No, fuck you. I'm driving right now. I know you're there, but you don't get to drive this car."
I feel like there's a podcast I listen to or something where somebody's talking about death in the same way, and how they were terrified and mortified of death and their mortality, and the fact that, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to wake up one day or go for a walk. And they were like, and now they've become a welcome friend. Like, they're in the passenger seat and they'll say things, and they're that friend that you disagree with, but you love them. And you're like, hey, death is telling you, like, hey, this is all going to end. This could be the last time you take a right at a stop sign. Hey, this could be the last time you have a Diet Coke. Maybe a piece of rib gets cut in your throat. And you either believe that person. And I've met a lot of people who have had some pretty severe, who have dealt with, not suffered, who have dealt with pretty severe anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts. And I get.
Hold on a second. Hey, quiet.
Is that your pup? Is that Irv?
That's the puppy.
Yeah,
I have a puppy too.
Little cameo, man. Hey, Irv. He's like, I heard Coda was on the podcast. When's my turn?
Well, Irv's also 90% deaf, so the neighbors probably think I'm screaming at him. I go, get over here. But he can't hear. I'm not yelling at him. Go ahead.
He's hearing a whisper. But I guess I just try, when people are really dealing with it in a big, big way, there's some bit, and I've used it in my own life. This isn't me like proselytizing, like, well, if you take this pill or practice this mantra, but I have found that accepting that it's part of my life makes it welcome. Like, if I wake up and I don't feel anxiety these days, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what am I not aware of? Honestly,
that's
God,
smart, man.
It's taken a lot of money, a lot of professional help, many, many years. But these days, and not that I don't falter, not that I don't sometimes just get in my room and cry or something, but by and large, I remind myself. So I watched Genevieve go through natural childbirth twice. She set out to do it 3 times. We had some issues with our 8-year-old. His cord was around his neck twice, and it was kinked, and we ended up going to a hospital then. But then I watched her 2 times give natural childbirth, no Advil. And she didn't say those exact words, but I got that she was like, when there would be contractions, she would sit there and breathe through it. She's a fucking boss, man. But she would breathe through it. And ultimately, after the fact, she was sort of like, I knew it was going to hurt. I knew it was going to go away. And there's it's not Rumi, it's Reiki maybe. There's a great quote about something, deal with the highs, deal with the lows. I'm bastardizing, but no feeling is final. So accepting there will be pain. Like, that's part of life. Life can suck for all of us. And life can be amazing for all of us if we choose to focus on that. But dealing with no feeling is final. This is painful. You don't have to suffer.